I'm a 29-year-old woman, and for as long as I can remember, my mother has believed I was in a lifelong competition I never agreed to enter. The other contestant was Rebecca, my mom's best friend Diane's daughter, who's a year older than me. If I got an A, Rebecca had already gotten an A+. If I got promoted, Rebecca had been promoted months earlier. It didn't matter what I did. Somehow, Rebecca had always done it first, better, or with more grace. Growing up, every celebration came with a footnote. When I graduated college, Mom smiled for the photos but mentioned that Rebecca had graduated with honors. When I bought my first car, she said Rebecca's was hybrid and so responsible. Even when I moved into my own apartment, she told me how Rebecca's place had crown molding and a balcony. It was never said cruelly, just constantly, like breathing. Mom always insisted she was just motivating me. She'd tell her friends she raised me to be ambitious, but the truth was that her compliments felt like reports she was sending to Diane. My father, Mark, tried to stay out of it. He'd hum or change the subject whenever comparisons started, but silence can be its own kind of agreement. Rebecca grew into the kind of person people called effortless. She became a lifestyle consultant, whatever that means, posting pictures of minimalist kitchens, designer outfits, and self-care quotes written in perfect cursive. Mom followed all of it religiously. Every new post was another reminder that Rebecca had become the woman my mother always wanted me to be. Family dinners were the worst. Mom and Diane would spend hours trading updates about their daughters. Except Diane's updates made Mom glow with pride, while mine made her smile politely before circling back to Rebecca's discipline or confidence. If I brought dessert, she'd say Rebecca's baking looked more professional. If I mentioned a new client at work, she'd ask if it was as big as Rebecca's projects. Eventually, I started visiting less. Every phone call became another evaluation, another chance to hear what I wasn't. I told myself distance was peace, but it only muted the noise. It didn't stop it. Then came the lunch that changed everything. We were at our usual cafe when Mom leaned back, smiling, and said, "Did you hear? Rebecca's engaged. To a doctor. Isn't that wonderful? Maybe you'll get there one day." She laughed like it was a harmless joke. I didn't. Something in me just stopped. I realized that no achievement, no milestone would ever be enough unless it mirrored Rebecca's. A few weeks later, one of my corporate clients hired me to plan a high-end dinner event. I spent weeks perfecting every detail. The seating, the lighting, the food presentation. When it ended successfully, a strange thought crossed my mind. What if I hosted my own dinner? Not for work, not for show, something personal. The idea grew quickly. A dinner at my apartment, just intimate enough to feel casual but structured enough that Mom couldn't critique it without sounding petty. I'd invite her, Dad, Diane, and of course Rebecca. On the surface, it would look like an attempt to reconnect. In reality, it would be something else entirely, a quiet experiment. I wanted to see what happened when perfection had to sit across from authenticity. When carefully staged smiles met reality without filters or scripts. Not to embarrass anyone, not to win, but to finally end the unspoken contest. I started planning in secret. I picked the date, the menu, the theme. I told myself this wasn't revenge, it was balance. Mom thought she was walking into another night where Rebecca's light would outshine mine. She had no idea that this time, I wasn't competing, I was hosting. By the time the invitations were sent, everything was ready. The food, the decor, the calm tone I practiced in front of the mirror. I didn't want drama, I wanted truth. I had no idea then how much one dinner could change decades of comparisons, or how quiet the room would get when perfect